short message before we get started.
Hi, welcome to Artifact. I'm Lauren, and Artifact was a creative clubhouse built for kids and by kids, just like you. It's a tradition for us to come together at our table each week to create together. So we're super excited to have you joining us for this 3-episode journey of the Gathering Tree. Stick with us if you can and follow along. We love creating with you. Wait a minute. Did you just see that? All right, let's get started.
Dear Diary, hello again, old friend. It's good to see you, November. Yes, with this warm cup of tea, I toast to your chilly, frosty mornings. The hazy sun just starting to rise. I knew you were here before I even opened my eyes this morning. The air was crisp and I could hear the feet of squirrels dancing across the gray stone wall. Gathering, harvesting. You are always the most punctual of guests this holiday season. You even arrived before the roosters crow. Actually, well, there he is. That's Agate. And the barking is my dog Luke. And so the day begins. I put on a jacket and I step outside. The chores can wait. I know your visit is short. Leaf by leaf, crop by crop, the days grow shorter, and I give thanks to you for the harvest. Episode 1, The Gathering Tree. From high above, many birds begin to fly south. They know winter is quickly approaching and their available food sources will become limited. The daylight hours are shortening, and they begin their journey. Along the way, they have the most magnificent views. The shortened daylight hours and the drop in temperature signals the leaves to prepare for winter in their own way. The trees stop producing chlorophyll, the green color begins to fade, making way for the oranges, reds, and yellows to present themselves in a show-stopping performance. Created entirely by nature's color palette, you are inside a wild and living landscape. While some animals will stay active around the gathering tree, even in the middle of winter, others know fall is one of their last chances to collect what they can on the fallen floor under the gathering tree before the snow covers the ground. Just downstream of the gathering trees is a bear looking to take its final meal before hunkering down for a long winter's rest. Food and time are scarce, and there is an instinctual sense of urgency. Winter doesn't wait. The leaves on the trees are beautiful, but they are also warning flags to many creatures that if they aren't planning to take flight, they must collect or find enough food to survive. Even domesticated animals, like these chickens, sense fall's arrival. With the shortened daylight hours, they will begin to lay fewer eggs. And then, of course, there's us. Among all who find themselves under the gathering tree, we are perhaps the most elaborate of creatures when it comes to preparing the harvest meal.
I'm sitting under the most magnificent crocus. You might know it as the oak tree, or the official tree of the United States.
In fall, its acorns begin to drop to the forest floor. The acorn is both a nut and a seedling, a source of reproduction in the life cycle of an oak. But for every 10,000 acorns the crocus drops, only one eventually becomes a tree. The others become a source of sustenance for a wide variety of living creatures. Blue jays, squirrels, and woodpeckers store and bury the bountiful acorns. And long before grocery stores, some 450 species of oak tree provided and still continue to provide a sustainable food source to people all around the world. The acorns are harvested, soaked to remove bitter tannins, then dried and ground into flour. The flour is used to make everything from breads and cereals to gelled delicacies. Beautiful, strong, and full of harvest, the oak tree stands among the gathering trees as a source of bounty, sustaining the lives of creatures using the same nut as it uses to recreate life for its own species.
With this food for thought, let's get back to our roots and start creating.
Time to head on home before the sun sets, and let's get started. Look inside your art box and see if you can find the 3 wooden pieces that can be put together to make your gathering tree. If you need more time to find them, that's okay. Just push pause. Then, when you're ready to join us again, push play. All right, let's begin. You might have already noticed that both sides of your tree look almost the same, but one of the trees has a slat cut down the trunk. The other tree has the slat cut through the top of the branches. These 2 pieces are going to fit together, kind of like a 3D puzzle. The bottom of your tree will make an X shape. That X will click into the base of your tree. One side of the X is slightly longer than the other, so if you start to put your tree in and it's wobbly, pick up your tree, turn it a quarter turn, and then try fitting it into the base again. When it clicks in, it will be strong and sturdy. This is a tricky but super important step, so if your tree isn't sitting tall and sturdy, ask a grown-up for help. Okay, if you're still working, that's all right, but push pause until you're ready to join us again. Then push play. Great work! These are awesome. Our gathering trees don't have to be a specific type of tree. Rather, they are meant to be a symbolic centerpiece that stands for all of the goodness we have harvested this year and the people we are grateful to be sharing that goodness with. Today, we learned about the oak tree as a part of that symbol. Not only is the oak our national tree, but it's also a tree that has the ability to produce sustainable food. In many parts of the world, the acorn symbolizes luck, strength, durability, or growth. I'd like us to use the rest of this class to honor the acorn, the nut of the oak tree, Before we begin this next step, let's set our own intentions and create our own meaning for the acorn. What does the acorn mean to you? Those are some great symbols. Okay, looks like we're ready for the next step, setting up our workstation. Look inside your art box and see if you can find your package of air-dried clay. You'll also need your clear piece of plastic as a work mat. Push pause until you've found these materials, then push play to join us again. For this next step, you won't need your tree, so you can put that to the side. Lay your clear plastic sheet flat across the table. We're going to use that as your work mat. Next, find your clay. We're going to be doing all of our work with the clay on the work mat. Start by kneading and stretching your clay. Then, pinch off a piece of clay about the size of a large marble. Then, roll it between the palms of your hands until it is round like a marble. Then, repeat this step again. We're creating the nuts for our acorns. Keep going. Repeat this step until you have about 8 or 9 balls. The more balls you have, the more acorns you'll be able to make. You can probably see where we're going with this. The balls we created are going to be the nut of the acorn, but now we have to create that little cap on the top. Pull off a piece of clay about half the size as you made the nut of the acorn. Now that you're an expert at making balls between the palms of your hands, go ahead and roll a tiny one. Then squish it between your fingers and flatten it like a pancake. Speaking of pancakes, if you've ever wanted to try acorn flour, we'll include an acorn flour pancake recipe, complete with maple syrup, in one of our bonus activities. Next, add your piece of flattened clay to the top of your ball, just like it's wearing a little beret or a tiny hat. Repeat this step until all of your acorns have tiny caps. We'll review the steps again in case you've forgotten the steps. Break off a tiny piece of clay, about half the size of your acorn nut. Roll it between your palms until it's a ball. Then flatten the ball like a pancake. Then put the flattened clay over the top of the ball, like it's wearing a little hat. Ta-da! stick with it until all of your acorns have caps. It's worth it to take your time, so don't rush. Stay focused. You got this. I know you're still working, but the last step is super simple, so I'm going to show you it while you work. After you finish putting the caps on top of the acorns, just pinch off a tiny little piece of clay and make a baby snake. This is going to be the stem on our acorn top. You can see from the picture in the corner of my screen, the picture of a real acorn, that the stem is short and stubby. Carefully place the stem on the top of the cap, and voila, your clay acorns. Nice work. Keep going until all of your acorn caps have a stem. Can you imagine how much work it must be for a real oak tree to make 10,000 of these things just to have one little tree grow? When you're finished, make sure to leave your acorns drying on your work mat until the next episode. The acorns are tiny, so put them somewhere to dry that's far away from small hands or pets who might try to eat them. Next episode, we'll discover the colors of the harvest season and place the acorns on the base of our tree. Thanks for creating with us today. It's been so much fun making art with you. Next episode, we'll discover the colors of the harvest season. Using inspiration from nature's natural color box, we'll begin to paint our gathering trees to bring the magic of the outdoors inside our own homes.
Wait, did you just say something? It's acorny joke time. Acorny joke time. Wait, I don't get it. Oh, acorny joke. Woo. What does the acorn say? Wait. What's a tree's favorite shape? A triangle? One of you acorns on this forest floor is going to grow up to be a brilliant mathematician. How do I know? Well, because you're going to sprout into a seedling, grow up, and you're going to shout, geometry! You know, like, gee, I'm a tree. Being an art teacher is a really risky job because sitting under this oak tree, at any given moment, an acorn could fall and just me on the head and knock some good jokes into my mind. Math. All right. More try. I'm sitting under the crocus. You might know it as an oak tree, the official tree of the United States.